I'm very biased for debt. I will scream it from the rooftops.
Right.
But in real estate, there's a lot of turnover. There's agents, brokers that hop from team to team to team to broker to broker. They have a hard time looking themselves in the mirror saying, I'm the problem.
Welcome back to the CashFlow podcast. I'm your host, Jason Yoss. I'm here with a great friend, Louis Pisano. Louis, good to see you, man.
What's up, dude?
How you doing?
Good, man. I'm stoked.
Okay, so, Louis, wearer of many hats at the Dean Aguilar Group, realtor. I appreciate you coming in. I want to start off by talking about what you did before you got in the real estate game.
All right. So, yeah, I grew up in hospitality, nightlife, nightclubs, pool clubs back in New Jersey. I even started as an MC when I was 20 years old.
Wait,
so
you were on the mic?
I was on the
hyping
mic.
it up?
Yeah, dude. So a couple of my buddies back in New Jersey when I was 20, 21 years old, they started this underground DJ show. And, they started in friends' basements. And then they got to this place called the Stone Pony, which is where Bruce Springsteen got his name.
No way.
Back in Asbury Park, New Jersey. The boss. That's it. So one night, went out there, got blacked out, hammered drunk like you do in your early 20s.
Yep.
And I went up on stage, was hanging out with them, and the mic was just sitting there. So me, being the person I was at the time, this is now 15 years ago, grabbed the mic and just started being the hype man. So that was my introduction into nightlife.
And that's all out there in New Jersey, but then you went to Vegas. How'd you get to Vegas?
Yeah, so I took the MC gig. We had multiple shows after that to a bigger venue with like 2,500 people. And then I realized I was good at it. I was good at partying, and I was good at bringing people together.
There's
so
nothing better than being good at partying. I love that.
Yeah, so I became a connector of nightlife, and I became a promoter, so to say, in Atlantic City, New Jersey,
Right.
at the Pool After Dark at Harrah's Resort. I did that for a few months, then I took on like a bigger role as like a nightlife coordinator, fancy phrase for just high-level promoter. But yeah, I had a bigger role at the nightclub. I was there for about 3 years, and then I had an opportunity to go out to Las Vegas.
Awesome.
So my first ever like true business and like, I don't want to say life mentor, but more so like business professional mentor, Howard Weiss. He was VP of Caesars Entertainment for the Eastern Division back in New Jersey.
Nice.
Oversaw like 18, 20 venues throughout the East Coast. In 2015, he ended up getting a job out in Vegas, and I had visited Vegas twice before. I wanted to get out of nightlife by the end of 2015.
Right.
And he posed the idea of me going to be his VIP manager in Vegas. And I was like, dude, I'm not moving to Vegas. Like, that's crazy. I'm 24 years old at the time. So for me, I just graduated college. I graduated a little bit late, a couple other factors there. But my goal was always get to California. And I'm a 24-year-old kid. I just graduated college. I have $2,000 to my name. Right. And spending money left and right. I didn't know what to do with it. I didn't have great financial literacy. And at the time, I was like, why not take an opportunity?
It's almost the way there. Like from New Jersey to California, there's literally a 2-hour stop in Vegas. What a great place to go to.
Yeah. So essentially, it came to, it took him like 3 or 4 months to get me to agree.
He just slowly wore you down, and then he's like, this is for you. You're going.
Yeah. And because I realized, like, I'm not making it to California with $2,000. Like, I got to find a pit stop. I got to find somewhere else. But I knew I wanted to leave Jersey.
Right.
There was nothing tying me down, nothing holding me there. And I knew at a young age that if I wanted to become the man I knew I could become, I had to just take more chances.
Right.
So at the time, I looked at Vegas as a pit stop. But there was a caveat. I told them, I said, hey, I'll come out there. It's got to be after New Year, and it's going to be operations, not VIP.
Okay.
I was like, I don't want to bring people to the party anymore. I want to run the party. And a few days later, he's like, done, sent me a blank contract. He's like, the original start date was like February 1st, 2016. So Thanksgiving of 2015, I told my family at Thanksgiving, I'm moving to Vegas in February. My grandma lost it. My whole family was like, yeah, okay, you're not leaving. You're not moving to Vegas.
Right.
So then I was like, all right, cool. Like, play that game. Like, I'm packing in the next couple months, just so you know. A month goes by. It's now Christmas time. And I'm like, why am I waiting till February? So Howard was like, dude, can you get here any sooner? Like, it'll just be me and you for like 4 weeks. I'm like, yeah, why not? So at Christmas time, I tell my family, hey, I'm leaving in 10 days.
Nice.
My grandma started crying. She's like, I thought you were kidding. So for me, I was at a point where, again, there was nothing keeping me in New Jersey. There was no reason not to leave.
Right.
And I knew that if it didn't work out in a couple years, I could find my way back or somewhere else. So New Year's Eve at the pool after dark was my last night working. I emptied out my bank account because I was with a bank that's only on the East Coast. $800 cash, no credit cards. Well, 3 of them were maxed out, so no credit cards pretty much. I packed 5 suitcases. I booked a one-way flight, and 6 days later, I jumped on a plane, never looked back.
That's awesome.
I moved there with $800 cash, nowhere to live, no official job, so I didn't sign a contract yet. I knew 2 people, just figured it out. And
Supreme confidence right there.
yeah,
man.
dude, it's
I
one of
love
those things where you got to take risks. You got to take chances, and you got to bet on yourself, and that's what I did, and it was the greatest single decision I ever made in my life.
In our industry, risk is sometimes, a scary word for people. A lot of our
Mhm.
clients are risk averse. And talk to me about how your mentor prepared you as you made that transition from hospitality to real estate.
Yeah, so he taught me a lot of things. One thing, a couple things he taught me early on were, one, act like you've done it before.
Right.
So it's a different take on fake it till you make it.
True.
I'm not a big fan of fake it till you make it. I'm a fan of face it till you make it. So act like you've been there by the way you carry yourself.
They're correct.
Right? So that's kind of the way I approach things. He also taught me one of your objectives as a young, whether it's business, entrepreneur, sales, whatever it may be, is to find a mentor and be a mentor.
Right.
But you can't become a mentor without having the right people around you.
Right.
And my mentors and coaches and with everything right now, luckily for me, like, bless their souls, are Dean and Aphrodite.
Yeah.
But Howard was the first one. And I learned under him for about 6 weeks until we brought anyone else on board. And I'm a 24-year-old, hot-headed, pretty arrogant and ignorant kid in Las Vegas, right? On a fast track to AGM, GM jobs. He did put me in my place very quickly,
Nice.
which was great. We had that kind of relationship. I still call him now and then for advice. We talk often. And it was one of those things where he taught me the difference of a leader and a boss.
Right.
We've all had bosses.
Yeah.
They're the ones that crack the whip. You do as I say, not as I do.
Yeah.
And then the leaders are going to bring the leader out of you.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big difference. So I owe a lot of my leadership roles over the last 6-7 years to him because of the kind of leadership training I've received from him directly.
I love it. Yeah. I love it. Let me ask, with all that experience, why not just residential real estate, but why the Dean Aguilar Group? Why DAG?
It's a good question. And it's a question I ask all the agents on our own podcast is, what made you feel like home?
Yeah.
And I got into real estate 2020, not due to a lot of reasons why most people did. Hey, it's COVID, it's a wave, let's do it. For me, I had an opportunity to go work for a commercial acquisition company. I was still at the Hard Rock, so backtrack a little bit. I was in Vegas for 2 years and 11 months. I moved there with a 3-year plan to either get to Cali or go back east somewhere,
Right.
not stay there any longer. I ended up coming to San Diego in 2 years and 11 months. I got recruited by the Hard Rock downtown to run all of their bars and parties. So I did that. So again, some people there taught me the difference between a boss and a leader, and vice versa. During that time, while I was still in hospitality, I had an opportunity during COVID to get out. And I wanted to get out of hospitality, hotels, the party industry by the end of 2020 regardless.
What a time to want to get out, too. I mean, COVID is, whether you knew it or not, COVID was there, and it
Right.
changed our whole landscaping.
Yeah. And I had no idea.
We got shut down, just real quick.
Yes and no.
Okay.
Yes and no. So we took on a lot of Navy contracts.
Mm-hmm.
So there were a bunch of the very first big Navy ship in Guantanamo. No, where is that?
Guantanamo Bay?
Yeah, Guantanamo Bay.
Okay.
When they came back, we housed 420 of them that were all sick.
Got it.
They were confined to their rooms. So those of us that were on salary, we were still working. I was working 50, 60 hours a week during COVID.
Right.
But I also ran the pool, which was outdoor, that had a bar, so people wanted stuff to do, and it was just chaos.
Yeah.
It was just chaos. So I knew it was my time to get out. 10 years in the industry, it took a toll. I was no longer a party person. I didn't care for that kind of lifestyle.
Sure.
So I had an opportunity to take my real estate courses, and the company I was going to work for, they wanted me to, I had a relationship with the owner, and he was going to send me to their training school in Michigan, all these things, and be part of the company. As I was taking my license, I was like, I don't want to be a commercial shark. Like, that's not who I am. Like, I love people. I don't want to be that guy that takes things away from people. So then I got introduced to Allie Castro. Through
Allie.
Yeah, got introduced to Allie. She's like a sister to me, and she introduced me to Dean and Aphrodite. And here's the difference of the leadership and boss that comes into play. I spoke to 4 big block agencies not big block realty, but
Right.
big block names. I'm not going to call them out. Every phone call was the same spiel. Create a Excel spreadsheet of 50 people, get your license, read XYZ books, and then come in and meet with us.
Got it.
And it was literally on repeat, all 4 calls in one day. I was like, there's no way that just happened.
Wow.
So then I was kind of like at a loss for like, all right, how's this going to happen? Got introduced to Allie, met with Dean and Aphrodite, also from the East Coast.
Yeah.
And within seconds, I'm like, hey, just shut up. I don't care what else you have to say.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Let
I'm
me
here.
sign whatever I have to sign.
Yeah.
Let me give you my soul. And it was one of those moments where I'm very biased for DAG. I will scream it from the rooftops.
Right.
But in real estate, there's a lot of turnover. There's agents, brokers that hop from team to team to team to broker to
Absolutely.
broker. They have a hard time looking themselves in the mirror saying, I'm the problem.
Right.
The reason I'm so biased with DAG, it's all I know. I've never had a reason to leave in 5 years. That says something to who they are as leaders, who the team is as a whole, and what we've built.
That culture is amazing. I think you nailed it on the head. People switch all the time. We track at our company, track realtors because those are our partners.
Right.
And we constantly have to ask the question like, are you still with Remax,
Yeah.
Keller Williams, Exit, whatever? I mean, we have to ask because they move. I think the average time on a team is like less than 18 months.
Yeah. And honestly, over the last couple of years, I've noticed like about a year less.
Yeah.
And one of the things with Dean and Afro, man, they've changed my life in ways that you can't really explain. It's kind of hard to explain. Like it's big brother, big sister type stuff. And it's one of those things where it's very easy to talk about, but it's difficult to understand if you're not experiencing it.
Let's talk a little bit about an example of culture as it relates to being on the right team. So you found the right home, the right team. What's an example of the way the culture works that makes you feel like, hey, I'm at home?
It's making sure no one feels alone. And when I say that, a lot of times in real estate, you suffer losses, right?
Yeah.
You get kicked in the teeth.
Yeah.
Something we say often is don't suffer in silence. And it's one of those things where from the beginning, we're a larger team. We're about 120 agents. And for me, now for going on 3.5 years, wearing one of the hats of director of growth and recruiting, right? Special, fancy. We don't do titles. It is what it is. My sole job is to protect the integrity of the culture. So much so to where we've interviewed agents that do 30, 40, 50 deals a year, and they're not a good fit.
You're like, no, you're not the right fit here.
And most people would think you're crazy. But at the same time, we can take the agent that does 0 deals to 15.
Yeah.
We can take the agent that does 10 to 12 to 20 to 30. We can coach, we can train, we can provide, we have the support, we have the systems, we have the processes. You can't teach personality and you can't coach culture. Yeah. All you can do, we take risks on some people, like, hey, we'll see where this goes. Right. There are several people we've taken risks on where it becomes all about them. Yeah. They'll do whatever they can to secure the bag or get the deal done, and it's a bad light. And when you put yourself first in a large setting, you will not win. Yeah. And even if you do, it won't last for long. So we're very good at identifying culture fits. And what we look for is the people that talk openly about what they want out of other people. Not like, hey, I expect XYZ, this is what I'm looking for. It's for me up front as like the gatekeeper, like I said, the very first thing I look for, I can tell within 2 to 3 minutes whether or not you're going to be a good fit for the team. And if some of the first things you lead with is me, splits, leads, I need XYZ, you're not a good fit for us.
Yeah, that's great. You hit the nail on the head here. Our industry on the residential realtor side is very me.
Yeah.
And again, like, because if you don't kill, you don't eat. That I understand that. But business as a whole is not me.
For sure.
And so to identify that as people come in the door, very, very intuitive, very successful way to recruit and have good people on here. How does it translate to the agents that are on the team?
In terms of what?
What are what is their feedback? Because you hear it all the time about when they're succeeding or when they're not succeeding. What does it sound like? How do you guys handle that?
Yeah, so a couple things, right? With real estate, it's like this. It's like the stock market.
Sure.
And I don't mean the market. I mean your personal business. Okay. You're going to have ebbs and flows. You're going to have great years. You're going to have some not so great years. Right? It's a matter of what you do and who you surround yourself with during that time that's going to separate you. And for agents, a lot of times I ask the question, I'm like, hey, what is it made it about DAG that's made you either stay or made you never want to leave, or so on and so forth, right? And it's always the fact of the support. And no matter how down you are, no matter how low you are, you're always going to have someone there to lift you up. You're always going to have someone there to carry the load for you. You're always going to have someone there that's going to put you in a position to still be successful. And there's so many examples, but there's agents that come in and they had their worst year ever to having their best year ever.
That's wonderful.
And it's not about just the deals. It's personal life. We share everyone's personal victories, birthdays, marriages, baby. There's like 10 people on our team that either had a baby this year or are pregnant.
That's awesome.
And everyone brings in their kids. Like, we celebrate everyone loudly, whether it's on social media, whether it's online, whether it's in person, whether it's at events. And it starts from the top down with Dean and Afro. Their number one focus is making sure you feel like a rock star.
Yeah.
And it's all about us. Nothing is about them whatsoever. So much so to where even a lot of the new things we implement with the team come from the agents, not Dean and Afro.
One of the best stories I heard is how the DAG team redesigned your logo. Didn't come from the top. It was an agent raised their hand like, hey, can we change this?
Yeah, dude.
That kind of ability, that kind of humility in a team is amazing.
It is. It's powerful, and it speaks to the retention, which we talked about recently. When I took over the role in 2022, there's only about 40 to 45 agents.
Right.
We were at 130 in 8 months. We could have had a 500-person team.
Right.
But we understood very quickly that some people were going to make it, some weren't. So going into 2023, retention was probably around 60 to 70%. That had a couple of things to do with people leaving the industry, people going to smaller teams, people leaving the state, or people just not being able to make it in real estate. We don't let go people. We don't fire people in 3 months. There is a process of control of like, hey, you've been here for a year, you have done one deal, you haven't done a deal. It's like, do you even want to be in real estate?
Right.
So there's a process, right? It's not like a come in free for all kind of thing.
Yeah.
Going into 2024, retention was around like 80, 85%.
Yeah, the right people.
And
there.
for me, over the last 3.5 years, we've always hired at about a 15 to 16% clip. So we interview 100 people, about 15 are getting brought on. And coming into 2025, it's like 98% retention.
I love it.
And for me, there's so much pride in that because I am the gatekeeper.
Yeah.
My responsibility is to make sure culture more than anything else.
I love it.
And I think one of those things is with the retention, it speaks volumes to the team, the culture, the atmosphere, the leadership, and the opportunity, and the potential for success. I think that's a couple of the biggest things that allows us to continuously grow the right way.
Let's shift a little bit and talk about, again, that we talked about success with DAG. Let's talk about some wins and sometimes some losses when it comes to your real estate in general. What have you learned, especially coming from hospitality industry, which I could never do what you do. I can't say, I got you so many times. Eventually, I'm going to be like, hey, man, I don't got you anymore. I can't do it anymore. So how's that translated into your real estate career? Let's start with a win. Let's talk about a deal that's a win.
Honestly, so it's funny. I look at wins a little bit differently than most people. I don't look at the win as how many deals I've done or how much money I've made. That's a byproduct. The win for me, and something that we talked about recently, my higher calling and purpose in life is the impact I make on the people around me, and the fulfillment that I receive is much greater than anything else.
Amen. Amen to that.
And I think when you follow that path, your bank account will,
it goes.
It goes. Like everything else flows from that.
Yes.
Everything cash flows from that.
It's the right mentality. First of all, thank you for the plug. Second of all, it is the right mentality. So many people have the wrong mentality. So it doesn't matter what we teach people. If they don't have the right mentality, it's not going to stick.
Yeah.
It's not going to stick.
And it's a couple of things, right? So for me, the losses are more important than the wins.
Okay.
Because it's what teaches you more.
Absolutely.
And
that's great.
I learned that at a young age, the losses in life teach you more than anything else.
It is 100%
So one thing, I learned a lesson when I was 15 years old. We were in film study after a football game.
Okay.
After a scrimmage, not even regular season.
Right.
I'm a sophomore, and I was backup running back at the time, right? At the time, I'm like 5'2", 125 pounds.
Right.
But I loved hitting people.
Oh.
Like, I will aim at the biggest person and try to beat the crap out of them. So it was a scrimmage. I was lead blocker in a hole, and I blew up this like 6'2" linebacker, cracked him. So we're in film study, and you couldn't really see the jerseys, a little blurry. Coach is like, oh, who's that? And I stood up. I was like, Pisano. Coach flipped on the lights. I was like, fuck, I fucked up. He's like, sit down, one. And I was like, okay. And he's like, self-praise is no praise. Humble yourself before life humbles you. Two of the most important lessons I've ever learned. So from that moment, I talked to him about a month ago. I still talk to this guy, Coach Klein. He was the man. He was my first like true like life mentor at the time.
Right.
Taught me an important lesson, and from that, I always hated the spotlight. I hated rewards. I hated recognition. Hate's a strong word, but I don't like being in the spotlight of like, oh, look what Louis is doing. I don't like that. So I learned that. But what it helped me understand is that you'll learn a lot more from your losses in life than your wins. So with real estate,
Right.
the losses teach you more and it helps you grow thicker skin. So I've had a lot of great wins, but the win from those deals are the relationships I have with those people.
Love it.
That matters more than anything else to me.
Love it.
Perfect example. Last weekend, I went out to lunch with clients that have a 2-year-old, and they have their second baby on the way. She's due about a month from now, their first girl. Met them in August 2021. We closed in September 2021. We've been friends ever since.
I love it.
I had lunch with them last week. This week, I have dinner with clients, 3-year anniversary for us buying their home on Friday. On Saturday, housewarming party with an 18-year-old that bought her dream home last week. We closed.
Nice.
The next day, I have another 3-year anniversary with a past client. Next weekend, I'm taking those new clients that I just closed last week out to dinner. So for me, the biggest win with closing deals is the relationship that comes from it.
How often do you see that? I hear stories, and I'll quote stories because I don't see it firsthand. But how often do you see realtors have that kind of relationship with their clients? Because that sounds amazing. I don't think that's the norm.
It depends on the person, right? So for me, I'm a people person.
Right.
I'm an extroverted introvert. If you're good people and you have good energy, like we're homies. If you have bad energy, get away from me. So I make it very clear with my clients up front. Like, listen, this is a friendship from now until the day that I hand you the keys to your house. One thing I do with all my clients is one of their closing gifts is I take them to a restaurant they've never been to that they've wanted to go to as part of the closing gift, right?
Nice.
A lot of the agents on our team, on DAG, because of who they are as people, they do have a lot of these relationships. Probably majority of the people on our team. I do know realtors out there that because of their relationships is why they have business.
Yeah.
Right? They have nothing else, but they don't need anything else because of their pillars, right? I know people that will never talk to a client after they close ever again.
Yeah.
Those are transactional realtors.
Yeah.
Because if you lead with I'm a relationship realtor, your business will always be there. That's how you build a sustainable business.
If you lead with that relationship business, it will always be there. I think that's great insight. I see from where we stand on the property management side, so much more transactional type, because a client will say, well, the realtor didn't tell me I was only going to get X amount in rent, or, hey, I thought that this was a great neighborhood, didn't tell me that this neighborhood is maybe not one of the best in terms of this or that. So I can only think your insight on developing relationships with your client and friendships is so much different than what we see normally, and it's paid off in dividends.
It has, and so much so to where I'm a big believer in everyone has a superpower. Maybe a couple.
Now tell me, I want to know this.
My very first superpower is my ability to grow and cultivate relationships.
Love it.
Over everything else. I can befriend a fly.
This is
and
true.
It's very easy, and it's very easy for me to start to relate to people because I always want to know about the person first. And it allows me to build those relationships. The second is I'm a very good judgment of character. And it's from not being such a good judgment of character at a younger age, where I can tell, again, not only within minutes of talking to an agent, whether they're going to be a good fit for us or not, but also knowing if I'm going to vibe with somebody as a friend like you and I have since we met. So like I try to show agents like what their superpowers are. And I think a superpower as a leader is you don't show them who you are as a leader, you show them who they can be.
This is huge. First of all, you're 100% right. I rarely come across people in our industry, especially men, who are as outgoing, friendly, and easy to connect with as yourself. Like usually, like the women, yeah, but the men are normally I don't want to, I don't want to talk to you. I'm in my own zone. It's rarely that they get as great of a personality as you have. But talk to me about that from a development standpoint. As we're wrapping up the podcast here, I want you to talk to me a little bit about like where do you see yourself going now that you're rocking and rolling, you're the gatekeeper at DAG, your real estate career has been successful. What's the next 5 years going to look like? What are we focused on?
That's a great question. So I'll be very frank and upfront, and Dean and Afro already know this. I'm not a forever realtor.
Got it.
It's not who I am.
Got it.
It's a means to an end. It's right now I'm very present where my feet are. and I love being in the rooms that I'm in with the people I'm around. One thing that I've leaned into with my ability to build relationships is that it's started to open a lot of doors for me.
Got it.
And not only like the coaching, the mentorship, the leadership around DAG, it's elevated my ability to lead and ability to coach and ability to train. But I've also taken everything I've learned for decades, last 15, 20 years from, a tough upbringing and tough adolescence years and a lot of trauma and a lot of traumatizing events that's allowed me to try to be someone for other people that I didn't have.
Awesome.
And one thing that I taught myself at a young age was whatever I wanted in life was going to be 100% on me. And what I started to become for myself was the person I needed growing up. So part of my outlook on life is trying to build a personal development business to help people that need help the way I used to need help.
Yeah.
And the reason being, I get emotional about this.
Well, I love it because your mentor talked to you about this. We talked about Howard Wiseman. The fact that you're living this is just, that's
together.
A testament. I love it. I love it.
It's huge. And I know that my actual purpose in life is to be somebody that helps people and whatever form it might be. But I understand also that my ability to kind of use my voice, whether it's on social media or in person or training 2 to 3 days a week at DAG, is I know that I do make an impact.
Absolutely.
Not in an arrogant way, but in a way where I see the difference that I've made and it's begun to come back to me. Yeah. Where I'll get messages from people around the world about some of my social media content.
I love your social media content.
About,
awesome.
And a lot of it comes from not so good stuff. That's, it's lessons learned. My TikTok, for example, is just life lessons through life experiences. And I have people reaching out to me about how to deal with a divorce. I've never been married.
Right.
I've been through a traumatizing breakup.
Right.
When I was engaged with a fully planned wedding. So, but I'm also a student of life. I like to look at everything that goes wrong in my life as an ability to learn a lesson from it.
Yeah.
And so that's what a lot of my socials become. Like my social media is not real estate, but that's because the long end game for me is not real estate. It's about making a bigger impact and a bigger difference on the world. And I have a mantra I live by. If I can positively impact one person per day, I'm doing my job as a human being. And that's what I live by.
I can't say enough of how excited I am to hear such stuff, because when we talk about real estate and investment in my field, I sometimes feel like it's very shallow.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I do consume a lot of your social media. I love it. I love the message you're putting out. It's awesome. Also, by the way, it's pool season, so everybody else get fit. But helping other people, man. There's nothing better. There's no greater feeling than seeing other people get wins. That is a great driver. I feel satisfaction out of that. I'm also not as comfortable being in the spotlight. You have embodied that, not just what we talked about, but what I've seen you doing. So please keep that up. It's awesome, man.
I appreciate that, man.
Yeah,
it means a lot. It's exciting when you get people just randomly reaching out about how you've made somewhat of a small difference. Like it's a great feeling, and knowing that everybody has the ability to change a life or make an impact, but very few people follow that path. And I love following that path.
Louis, thank you, my friend.
Thanks, dude.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Everybody else, thanks for tuning in to CashFlow, the podcast where we talk about turning properties into profits. We'll see you next week.